mid waliba cimilo gaar ay leedahay caalamkan ilbaxay
In this civilized world, which is mainly functioning on electronics, transportation and telecommunications are key pillars of life.
iyo communicationka
Somaliland president believes that a healthy and open market economy is the main pillar for Somaliland. Our vision is to make Somaliland cities smart cities, where all these entities and different ICT services work together.
In the coming future, Somaliland will be the hub of technology of East Africa and the region as a whole.
We are launching a set of programs to help those governmental offices and institutions to reach their goal by the ICT sector.
We can say it is success. When you compare from where it has been started and where we are, we can say it's success. But still, it's going to improve.
So we're providing platforms where, of course, individuals in Somaliland can exchange ideas, be innovative for the coming industry.
Our teams work 24/7 just to make sure that no one is left behind, and we have digital inclusion for everyone. Everyone will have a digital identity. Whatever technology is introduced in the country, anyone should have access to it.
I hope telecom sector, together with our government, our Ministry of Telecom, we will reach that development.
In today's world, telecommunication plays a very pivotal role in the growth and development of any nation. As every nation on the planet gets interconnected and communicates in real time across vast distances, any nation that is not connected on this loop loses out eventually. Therefore, investment in communication infrastructure becomes an imperative for any economy that wants to witness massive development, especially in Africa. For the government of Somaliland, investment in telecommunication infrastructure has been a key strategy to put the nation on the path of social and economic development. The nation has witnessed considerable progress in this regard as a result. Internet and telephone coverage in Somaliland today is put at approximately 95% of the country, and international calls from Somaliland are some of the cheapest rates in Africa. The growth witnessed in the sector has not exactly been a smooth ride, coming against the backdrop of a history or hardship and little growth in the sector prior to independence.
The history of Somaliland telecommunication is very long, because it is covering almost more than 60 years, and it is starting during the colonial period. Here at the Ministry of Telecommunication now, it was the center of the communication. It was called Tarder in Somali during the colonial period, and it was also servicing as a radio. Later on, it became a telephone center. During period to 1988, it could be said that it was virtually impossible and difficult to find a reliable telephone. It took several days to communicate, as Mogadishu was the telephone control and routing center for the calls of to the whole country, once you had registered it also. As an example, I was working with business people or business company. Mostly, we were having an LC, letter of credit, at Djibouti BCI Bank. To know where your container is delivered or not, you have to go to the call center and register at least 5 minutes or 3 minutes to call to BCI Bank to know the delivery of your goods. To my experience, it has taken to me 4 days to call to Djibouti because it is registering somewhere at Shab area. You will be registered and you are in queue. So maybe only 4 persons can talk from Hargeisa to somewhere else. I didn't get the first day. I went back the second day, the third day, and the fourth day I got the telephone to communicate PCI company in bank in Djibouti. Just for 3 minutes or 4 minutes only to know it. So that was the situation of the telecommunication in Somaliland, especially during the previous regime.
waxa allaali iyo waxa order la bixinayo iyo waxa bangiyadu ay isticmaalayaan.
Everything that involves technology, the Ministry of Telecommunication was in charge of it, including the digital transactions, while people using old version technology. The new technology facilitated every business transaction. People use less capacity devices, though it was protected and secure device, which was not easy to be intercepted.
waxa ganacsi la isku weydarsado oo dhan isgaarsiinta ayaa isu gudbin jirtay hay'ad kasto ay tahay.
During the fight against the dictatorship of Somalia also contributed to the poor delivery of telecommunication services in the past. Afterward, some private investors began making investments in telecoms. More investments have been made since then to improve the quality of telecoms in the country.
When the people came back from the refugee in 1991, they were going to the neighboring countries like Djibouti or Redhawa in Ethiopia. I myself went to Djibouti one time to have a call to UK. I went sometime to Redhawa to have a call. Sometimes there is some restriction at the border. You have no a valid passport. You have no ID for Ethiopia to pass the border. And the people were getting very difficult. Very rare people were getting that telephone service because of the ID. Luckily, Somali diaspora person, he installed a small fee site one way. Fee site connected to Canada. He was charging us $12 per minute. But it was better than nothing. We were using that one. 1993, the government established a communication equipment at here, this compound, with the help of Djibouti Telecom, but it was worked only a short period of time because Soltelco company takes over the telecommunication center as a private use. Early 1994, STC company was established where the people was registering to get a phone call $4 per minute. But the service halted after the civil war erupted in Hargeisa at that time. And they restored the service when the war ended in 1996, and they added the service for landline cabling in Hargeisa city. When the war broke out in Hargeisa and STC was shut down, Soltelco company started the service. They were doing the same way as STC. It was registering charging you $4 per minute, you will be in queue. For example, you are coming here at 3 p.m. They will say to you, you have to come back at 8 p.m. to get the call because the line is very long. Queue, because many people want to communicate. Another company came, called it Sitco. They developed analog mobile phone, which costs $1.3. They reduced the price, and it was not working so long. Aerolite company, it was based in Mogadishu. They established analog mobile and landline service in Borama. And lastly, they spread out in the whole country in the name of Telecom.
However, Somaliland government has shown serious commitment in changing the landscape of the telecommunications sector and has taken some necessary steps to remove obstacles and bottlenecks to attract more investment by laying the foundations for better regulations and ICT compliance.
siyaasadda fudud ay qaateen xukuumadihii Somaliland kala duwanaa ayaa keentay.
The light-handed policy of the successive Somaliland's government has enabled the business in the country to flourish. There were no barriers to investment and introducing new services. We will continue with that policy.
Marka waxaan u taaganahay inaanu mar walba dhiirigelino maalgashiga.
To underscore the important role that information and communication plays, and to incorporate it into the vision and strategic plan of the government, the scope and jurisdiction of the Ministry of Ports and Telecommunications was expanded to include ICT and is now called the Ministry of Telecommunications and Technology.
The previous name of the ministry was Ministry of Postal and Telecommunication. So the current president added and expanded the mandate and included the ICT and technology. Now the ministry name is the Ministry of Telecommunication and ICT. The last 2 years, as we know, the Somaliland ICT sector or telecom sector is one of the leading in the region, actually, as we know, whether it's telephone, pricing, quality, accessibility, to regulate that market, to expand and to respond the demands of National Development Plan and NDP2. The Ministry of Telecommunication achieved the last 2 years a lot of things. If I can mention some of them for telecom or ICT sector, first ICT sector. As we know before, the Somaliland government ICT sector was very low when you whether it's the usage of the ICT, the government institutions, to enhance and develop in that sector. The Somaliland Ministry of Telecommunication first reformed the ministry structure. We included some departments like ICT department and development, ICT research and development department, and network and security and data center department. That means first we have to reform the ministry and restructuring the mandate of the ministry and the structure of the ministry.
As a Ministry of ICT in Somaliland, our core strategy and principles are from our presidency vision, which was declared in the Kulmiya Party manifesto in 2017. The President of Somaliland believes that the technology is the key driver for successful development in socio-economic and security. And also, technology is the main factor to develop and for Somaliland as a whole. Our vision of the Ministry of ICT is to lead and to regulate ICT sector. Our mission is to deliver for following key principles. First of all is to facilitate reaching sustainable development goals, because technology is a key player and key factor to reach the sustainable development goals, which is universal.
Other efforts and initiatives were also embarked upon to make the knowledge of ICT accessible across the nation. Private sector have made great investment in telecoms infrastructure. This is because government has consistently ensured that it keeps the market open and fair for all players. Only recently, the House of Representatives ratified an amendment to the communication law as proposed by His Excellency President Musabeh Abdi. By this new provision, government created a level playing field for all interested players in the telecommunication market.
We have a good working relationship with the ministry. For the most part, as a service provider, we've faced a lot of challenges deploying our environment, and the ministry has been very key partner in working with us on implementing some of the changes we were looking to address.
Our relationship with the Minister of Technology is a very strong relationship, long-term relationship for collaboration, and it's the ministry that does all the regulations around our business.
The sector is growing very fast. Our relationship between the Ministry of Telecom and Telecom sector and in general ICT, actually it's our line minister. We have a very good relationship. We regularly discuss the strategic direction of the sector and in general ICT. We have actually in terms of the regulation, in terms of the building the institution like the Telecom Commission, which is what now we are going on in the recently coming weeks. We will have a discussion. We have actually a very good relation.
The Ministry of Telecommunications and ICT also push for laws and regulations that will provide the right enabling environment for the sector to thrive. Investment has been made in ICT infrastructure, especially in the laying of cables to connect them better and faster. 98% of the international traffic internet usage, phone calls and text messages is carried by cables, with only a few being done by satellite. Hence, priority is being given to laying of cables in Somaliland telecoms infrastructure, with satellite providing backup. Internet broadband penetration is helping the local economy in Somaliland to grow and opening up commercial opportunities for its youths.
The ministry developed regulations to enable healthy environment for telecom and ICT sector. Our strategy is to develop regulations which enable all economic and sectors, including telecom, to get free and open market. As a Ministry of ICT, we are already developed number of regulations and bylaws and policies and guidelines to support growing telecom industry. We develop regulations that help this sector to develop and to operate in healthy environment. Also, we develop regulations which is talking about licensing and controlling operators in Somaliland. And also we introduced regulations about managing and controlling natural resources like spectrum. And also we introduced and developed regulations which is talking about competition and consumer protection. The main objective of developing regulations is to protect customer rights and also investors in this sector, and at the same time to help operators and other telecom stakeholders to grow and develop.
As a good example, Somaliland have one of the strongest and best mobile money in the world today, which has been widely acknowledged. Since its launch in 2009, mobile money service has grown in acceptance among the people and has become a key economic drive in Somaliland, as it enables all kinds of money payment transactions, including transfer, purchases, fee payment, salary and wages payment instead of cash.
su-aasha oranaysa sideed u aragtaa isticmaalka adeega e-dahab?
E-Dahab is one of the easiest mobile money transfer system, which is well established in the country. I congratulate the Somaliland government on how it's managing the mobile money systems of E-Dahab and ZAD, those which facilitated the business transaction of the market.
dawladda waxa weeyaan dawladdu sida waxaan ugu hambalyeynaya marka hore
kan waa dukaankaygii alaabta waxaan ku iibinaa baysa.
This is my shop. We sell the products by using ZAD service, whether it is a bank account or any other means. We thank Allah for making this service possible, and secondly to our government for its contribution to the country's advancement technology.
habka fudud ee lacag la isku gaarsiinay ama bank ha noqoto ama check ha noqoto ama adeeg kale ZAD la isku diray ha noqotay taas markay xitaa mahad iskale.
I appreciate the government for maintaining this online payment system, and it's safe, and thanks to the government.
The mobile money, our platform ZAD, is also an advanced technology, but at the same time today is widely used in all over Somaliland, and illiterate people and everyone is able to use that technology. And we always try to focus on the adaptation level of our community and make things much easier.
In this years, the way of life is changing recently. Somaliland communities became one of the things that we have became cashless community. The telecom sector is driving that the whole way of the life of the Somaliland people, they depend on the telecom sector. It is the sector which is the whole business and the individual life is dependent on. In Somaliland market where the statistics say 90% of Somalilanders above 16 years old, they have at least mobile. And that rate, 73% of that statistic is saying they have using mobile wallet, which is actually they are managing their daily activity. And they are depending on everything.
To promote innovation and technology utilization, we have in Somaliland mobile money service. Somaliland mobile money service is considered one of the strongest and most developed in the world, and the government is doing all it is best to utilize mobile money service in Somaliland in a proper way and in a security way. And also we introduced data protection for public and private data.
The telecommunications sector has become the leading sector in Somaliland, competing squarely with the remittances. It has also been adjudged one of the best and most innovative in Africa, with highly qualitative data and voice services by international observers.
It is worth noting that Somaliland is now the cheapest and most efficient communication service in the region. Many people link to social networking sites such as Facebook, WhatsApp, Imo, Snapchat, Instagram, and so on. But still the customer feels that the internet service has not reached its intended target, but we can say it is success. When you compare from where it has been started and where we are, we can say it's success. But still, it's going to improve. And since the telecommunication is a private, there is a drastic competition between the operators, so everyone trying to be the leader. So we hope in the coming future to launch again 5G, and we are competing as the developed worlds.
The growth in ICT and telecommunications also incorporates the postal service. The ministry is working to serve the postal needs of the people by ensuring services is accessible and available across the country.
The postal sector mandate includes provision of accessible, affordable and reliable postal services to all parties of Somaliland as public postal license, whereby communication through the post office forms part of the basic human rights as enshrined in the 1948 United Nations Charter.
The Ministry of Telecommunication and Technology, one of the mandates is to enhance the post services. So we already starting to activate the government post services. Before we know the post services was a lot of history in Somaliland. Here the ministry was the 1950s, where is the radio Hargeisa is there, where is the post offices there also. So to restart that activity and that services, we already started 2018, we start the government sectors only, the government institutions to use the post services.
We are working to implement first time postal service, whether it is local and international. We already started to serve and to deliver postal service between government offices. Now, our postal department, they deliver around 2,000 documents and parcels between government institutions monthly. We are working now to extend this service to regional level, and now we signed an agreement with 6 ministries to cover this region in a regional level. At the same time, we signed an agreement with Djibouti to deliver international postal service to Somaliland, whether it is coming or in and out. And also we contacted with other countries. At the same time, we are working to introduce PO Box service in Somaliland. And now we prepared around 400 PO boxes.
The SDG acts as blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future by addressing global challenges such as poverty and inequality by 2030. Development of ICT and digital infrastructure is helping the government to achieve Goal 9 of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDG), which focuses on industries, innovation and infrastructure. As an example, the government of Somaliland is taking steps to encourage more of its youth who are enterprising to embrace the opportunities in ICT while opening up the space for more participation so that Somaliland businesses can explore greater opportunities in the global economy. The ministry is positioning the nation a regional leader in ICT by encouraging local and international investment in the sector. For instance, Somaliland Ministry of Telecommunication unveiled a new telecom spectrum management system, which is the first of its kind in the country. The main objective of this equipment is to contribute to the technological advancement of the country. The system was purchased as part of improvement in communications, which was identified as a top priority for the country. The acquisition of the telecom spectrum management system with the foundation of spectrum monitoring capability, including identification of spectrum conflicts and isolation of dead zones in coverage and locating rogue networks. The system, which is the first of its kind to be launched in Somaliland, has been recognized as an important step towards boosting the telecommunications sector. The monitoring system delivers state-of-the-art sensor-based monitoring capabilities across the commercial spectrum. The acquisition of the telecom spectrum monitoring system will allay fears expressed by the public who were concerned over radiation in cell phone towers.
The Ministry of Telecom, they make a progressive development, include the development of the different regulations and the policies that actually is very, very needed in Somaliland. And they actually bring a breach, which was one of the big breaches that they reopened the acting of Telecom acting to take out the monopoly of one of the important parties of ICT infrastructure, which is the fiber, terrestrial fiber, and the submarines, which everybody can now develop and can bring in the country, which is very good for the country. They actually bring the sector spectrum and controlling equipment, which is usually actually they controlling all the spectrum, which we don't have before. We have a lot of operators, and the operators may have problems with each other, and the government, they bring that equipment to control, to make it mediate all the companies which one frequency you have to use, and that's your frequencies. So this is one of the actually very good step forward that the government taking that regulation.
The current government, the Minister of Technology, they have introduced a lot of activities, a lot of regulations, and since the technology sector is developing very fast, so the Ministry of Technology has also to cope up with the development, and for that reason the Minister of Technology has been doing a lot of activities in terms of awareness, in terms of and educating people, and also in terms of the regulation side.
One other change that I've seen within the ministry the last 3 years is they've held a few conferences within Somaliland where they're bringing in the public and private partnership into one space and to have a dialogue as to what the consumers think, what the private entities think, and also from an ISP side, what are the challenges we are facing. So having that kind of a conference, that kind of a dialogue between all the different parties does open up the enterprise.
The maanta innovation-ka waad arkaysaan waxaynu maranaa meel wanaagsan.
Today, you can see the innovations. We have latest current and coming fiber optic communications. Somaliland has the cheapest telecom services, and even during COVID-19, we extensively use ICT services for government education using Zoom.
Kuwa ugu jaban waxaynu horumar weyn ka sameynay.
The Berbera Corridor project, which was conceived to boost trade by linking Somaliland with neighboring Ethiopia to facilitate international trade between them through the Berbera seaport, is now extending the value proposition of the project to include ICT infrastructure, so that the Berbera Corridor will not only be a transport hub but also a technological high-speed internet hub in East Africa, housing one of the biggest data centers in the world due to its strategic location.
In this civilized world, which is mainly functioning on electronics, transportation and telecommunications are key pillars of life.
Berbera corridor is serving and going on to develop. Our vision is to make Berbera corridor not only for transport and trade, but also we want to make Berbera corridor as the internet global hub. And we are already working with our local companies to invest and attract submarine cables in Somaliland and to make Berbera a data center and hub for different data centers.
The development of sustainable infrastructure across the nation will boost economic prosperity. The focus on affordable and equitable access for all. This has been proven to be possible by some nations like Singapore, Sweden and Hong Kong, which used ICT as a strategic tool to get fast-tracked among developed economies. There are plans in place to attract innovators and startups through the ICT parks as dedicated projects by the government, which is being overseen by the Ministry for Telecoms and ICT. Ultimately, the goal of the ministry is to help the nation transition into a full e-government system and run smart digital cities powered by the internet.
Already we did a lot of things in the ICT sector. We implement the ICT e-government strategic plan, and the cabinet is passing the strategic plan of e-government. We already implemented, the email system the government portal, means the gateway of the government of Somaliland. We developing a lot of websites for the ministries, the web presence, at least to share the information to the citizens. There are currently different systems which is the government are using, like national ID, driver license, BFM, public financial management system. To integrate these systems, we already established the national data center here in ministry to integrate these systems, to enhance the security of the systems and also the use of the systems.
Here at the ministry, we facilitate and regulate the design, implementation, and use of ICTs in the public services. One of the main important things is to promote ICT literacy and capacity. Also, we promote the e-government services. We facilitate electronic and electronic form, electronic records at the public offices.
As a Ministry of ICT, we introduced e-government strategy, which is passed by the Somaliland Ministerial Cabinet. We already started to implement 5 years strategy for e-government. The main objective of e-government is to transfer all government services to digital manner.
Currently, digital businesses ranging from car hailing services, parcel deliveries and logistics, as well as online stores are popping up in Hargeisa, the nation's capital, but also in other cities as well. However, other initiatives are in the pipeline to make it more comprehensive.
runtii door muhiim uu ka galayaa sababtoo ah adduunyada hadda waxa dhaqaalaha ugu badan
It really plays an important role because the world's biggest source of income is technology. We move into a world dominated by technology. Everything depends on technology. And it's like we are all in the same room. We are hopeful that Somaliland will invest more in technology. And as a company, we will take the lead.
annaguna waxaan ka noqon doonaa kambaniyada ugu horeeya ee dhinacyada adeegyadaas qabto inaan hormuud u noqon doono insha Allah.
We are promoting data communications and online business. For technology development, now more businesses are transferring their business operations to online manners or to online approaches. So our strategy is to facilitate and also to take part of awareness, whether it is in terms of operations, security, also in payments and communicating with customers. We are working to facilitate and to promote online business in Somaliland. And at the same time, we are working to get a reliable, cheap, and affordable internet connectivity to all business which are conducting their business online.
In the new smart cities, every aspect of daily life, including security operations, will deliver digitally. The aspirational Somaliland President, His Excellency Musabehe, is to turn Somaliland to ICT hub, which is achievable with his doggedness and vigorous actionable plans by His Excellency and his cabinet members.